I'm trying to figure out what my next project will be on Honda Beat. One place I could start is back here in the engine bay. So these engines are pretty highly strung already. For 660cc they are putting out about 63 horsepower, which is almost 100 brake per litre. So you're not going to get a huge return on any modifications that you do if you keep it naturally aspirated. Another option is you could turbo it, and some people have done this. It's not straightforward. Need to change the ECU to a standalone and change the distributor to something that can control the fuel injection a bit more strictly. Another option is to swap the engine out completely with a completely different engine, and that has been done. People have put B16s, B18s into these. There's somebody working on a D16 at the moment, D17. There's other engines that you can use, but none of them are straightforward. There is no off-the-shelf kit. It's probably going to require custom subframe, and I just don't have those type of fabrication skills. But more importantly, this engine is an absolute gem. I don't know why anybody would want to change it. So it's so in character with the car and unique that unless it was to go pop, I don't see why you would change it. So if you're not going to add more power, what other options do you have? So instead of adding power, why not add lightness? These cars are pretty light as it is already. They're about 760 kilos. But there's always places where you can save weight, and that will help everywhere, as you know. Better acceleration, better handling, better braking, less mass. That's the idea. So I'm going to do this in phases. Phase 1 will be items that are easy to remove, that are completely reversible, and they won't really change the daily drivability of the car. So obvious items like that are the steering wheel, which has already been replaced, the stereo, which I never use, the spare wheel, things like that. Quick wins. The standard steering wheel is a heavy old lump. This is even the early model one from 91, so it's a non-airbag. The later ones did have airbags. And I've saved almost a kilo, 900 grams, by swapping to a Momo tuner wheel and all of the hub adapters and everything that you need for that. Next up, I'm going to look at the spare wheel. So there is a tool kit that came with this car. I don't know if it's the genuine Honda one, and it weighs about a kilo. I'll show you what's inside. So there is a wheel brace, pliers, sockets, spanners, a knife, some random nuts and bolts. Yeah, I'm guessing all this stuff is not genuine Honda. There is also a wheel jack. I just weighed the jack and it is 1.3 kilos. This skinny little thing weighs 9 kilos, if you can believe that. So those three things combined take 11.3 kilos out of the front. Now you could argue here that you're messing with the weight balance of the car. It's obviously very rear biased already, and this may lead to understeer, but instead of going by internet, opinions. Let's try it and see for myself. Will I actually notice the difference? The steering wheel is obviously saving another little bit, almost a kilo. So next up is the stereo. If you watch my previous videos, you'll know that I replaced the stock head unit with an aftermarket one and printed this fascia to make it all fit in. I also replaced the door speakers. Another thing that I did was repair the subwoofer speaker in here and replace the amplifier that comes with that head unit with just a simple crossover. The thing is, since I put this in, sounds great when you're just sitting here static or you're stopped at a traffic light or something like that, but as soon as you get moving, like most convertibles, particularly small ones, you can't hear anything over the wind noise, rattles, and just general convertible noises. The engine being right here as well does not help either. So the reality is, I never turn this on. I just enjoy the car for what it is and tune out and listen to the engine noise, which is so good. So I'm going to take this out. The weight saving here is 2.2 kilos for the head unit and 0.3 of a kilo here for the subwoofer amp. So between these two, it'll be 2.5 kilos. And I am going to take out these speakers and weigh those as well. The last thing I'll need to do here is print a new faceplate, which will just be completely blank here. So I'll show you that once I pick up the print. The door card is back on and the speaker weighs just over 500 grams. So for the two of them, it's another kilo. The last part of the audio system to remove is the subwoofer speaker in here and the crossover I put in. You can see the back of the speaker here. It looks pretty small from the outside, but it's actually a fairly chunky little speaker. If you're looking to repair one of these speakers, check out one of my previous videos where I replaced the foam cone, which degrades over time. It's pretty straightforward. And this little subwoofer speaker is 724 grams, 0.7 of a kilo. Now the next item might surprise you. I am going to take out the passenger seat. The reason for that is I always drive this car on my own. In the last year I have only taken 2 drives with people in the passenger seat. One with my son, who doesn't particularly like it because it's too loud, and one with a friend who came back from Australia and wanted to drive in the car. So 99% of the time I don't have a passenger, so it's just extra weight. Let's take it out. I was hoping I might find some Japanese coins or something like that. This car has been in Ireland for 20 years and it's been restored previously, so I'm sure this is not the first time the seat has come out. But instead, I get some really crusty chewing gum. Next item here behind the seats, you wouldn't even know it's there, is this document holder. It's a lockable box, but it's absolutely tiny. I can't imagine anybody would actually use it. As you can see, it's very, very narrow. In behind here is the ECU and the main relay. I might as well take this out as well, and also the floor mat for the passenger side. And I forgot to take this out. There is 2 screws here and 2 that are under this plastic cover, and to get that plastic cover off you need to move this forward, so I just screwed that back on. I guess I'm gonna have to take it back off again. There it is. One item I won't be taking out for the moment is the seat belt. Might do that at a later date. But I'm going to be NCTing this car soon, so I'll probably put the seat back in just for that one day. I don't know the NCT regulations around taking out a passenger seat. That's our safety check for the it being roadworthy. So here's all the items I took out. The seat was 11.6 kilos for that passenger seat, and this little compartment was 1.2 kilos. So the total for all of this is just over 30 kilos, 30.1 kilos. So it'll be interesting if I can notice any difference. But as I say, this is kind of phase 1. Easy stuff. I was able to do all this in about an hour. The next step will be stuff that's far more involved, like the air conditioning particularly. It doesn't work in this car, the gas is not available anymore, and it's utterly pointless carrying it around. It's a soft top anyway, and I only ever drive it with the top down, so aircon's gonna go. But that'll be on the next one. After removing all that weight, I'm now gonna add some back in. I'll explain now. I just got some genuine Honda parts delivered from Honda Japan, and they are going here. So there's 4 plastic trims that go into the rear of the bumper here, and the bumper inserts. I'm missing 3 of the 4 of them. You can see that there's only 1 remaining. This one looks like it might have been painted previously, so I just bought all 4 so that they would look the same, and just finish off the back end. So it's fantastic that Honda actually still sells parts like this, to still be supporting a car that's 31 years old is great to see. It wasn't all plain sailing though. These parts are actually really cheap in Japan. They only cost less than €6 each. So for all 4 it was about €23. But by the time it was shipped from Japan, the shipping cost isn't too bad. But then the import duties into Ireland, as well as the charges that UPS charged, as you can see, quite expensive. It ended up costing about €100 all in, instead of the €23 that the actual parts cost. So not great, but you know, that's the reality of buying parts from Japan. I would say that Rob from Etsuryu did a fantastic job of sourcing the parts quickly, shipping them out straight away, and great customer service. So I will definitely be using them again for various service parts and things like that in the future. First things first, I think this is going to have to go on tool chest. So there's 4 tabs that hold these in. They're a push fit. But there's a bit of flex in these, so I should be able to get the old one out pretty easy. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this one is definitely being painted, probably when the car was restored, so I'm glad I got all 4. much cleaner. Colin Chapman would be proud. Slán.